Hey, check this bear out. Hey, so I've been getting a lot of questions on how I tune my snare drum. Ooh. How I tune my snare drum to get that sound. And in this video, I'm gonna go over that. So this drum is a Blackbird 14 by 6.5 brass snare drum. Basically, it's a Black Beauty. The only difference is this one has the red edges are a little bit more rounded to give it more of like a vintage feel. There's a couple things that I use to get the snare sound that you hear whenever I play. Those things are an E-ring, an Evans E-ring, a single moon gel, lug locks. These are like Gibraltar lug locks. And one of the most important things, 42 strand snare wire. Let me explain why all these things are important. So these things just help me shape the sound of the drum. Without this, the drum still sounds great and everything like that. Like I'm not using it to compensate for anything that might be missing or lacking. If anything, I'm using these to take away some of the frequencies so the sound guy doesn't have to do as much work. This is what the snare drum sounds like with no dampening on it whatsoever. So first thing that you'll notice is the drum's tuned actually pretty high and it's wide open. Like there's like a ton of overtones just going everywhere. But the idea behind that is I want to have the drum as open as I can and I want it to produce the best frequency. That way I can sound the fullest even with all the dampening and everything else. And each drum's going to be a little bit different. It's really just about finding the sweet spot of your specific drum. Basically what frequencies make the shell resonate the best, and it'll take time and it'll take experimenting. There were times where I literally took a drum key and I just hit the drum and twisted all the way up and all the way down and found the sweet spot with this specific drum. But if you can find that, your drums are just going to sound more open, they're going to sound bigger, and the sound guy's not going to have to do as much to compensate for bad EQ and bad tuning. So once you have the drum tuned and setting where you want it to be, that's when you can put the E-ring on and you can start adding some dampening. So I like this because it helps and gets you 90% of the way there. But depending on the situation, I may or may not use the E-ring. It just literally depends on the musical context that you're in. For bigger venues and stuff, I'll almost always use it. Sometimes for smaller venues, I may take it off and just put pieces of moon gel or gaff tape around the drum to keep it a little more open, but not, basically to prevent it from sounding super dead and in the mix and lifeless. So then once you put the E-ring on, I'll put a single moon gel. I won't put the whole thing on, I'll just put half of the moon gel on right above the microphone. And the reason I do that is it's kind of a quick, easy way to just get some of the unwanted overtones out of the microphone before like post and everything else. It's like a quick fix. If you ever have a drum that's just ringing and you don't like the overtone, you can do one of two things. You can tap around the drum and place pieces of moon gels on those sections. It's kind of EQing the drums before you EQ the drums in post. Or you can just slap a moon gel directly underneath the microphone, and 9 times out of 10 that'll get the job done quickly. It's better to find the individual overtones and use small pieces of moon gel. That way you're not killing the drum completely, you're just taking some of those unwanted frequencies out. But if you don't have time for that, then that works too. Before I forget, another important thing is to have these microphones in line with each other, because that just makes sure that they're in phase. And then also line the snare wires up with the microphones. That'll help keep it open. And to give you more of a visual, so here's the microphone right here. Snare wires are gonna be lined up like that. That's basically just gonna ensure that the bottom snare mic is getting as much snare buzz as you can, and you're not having to like boost EQs. The name of the game for this is to give as best of a sound to your sound guy as you can, so they don't have to do as much processing in post, because it'll sound better and you'll get a better end result. That's basically it. I mean, there's not much to it. It's kind of just finding something that works for you. To kind of like, to sum it up, the most important thing is going to be finding those frequencies that your drum resonates best at. It's going to be different for every single drum, and it's just going to take trial and error to get the sweet spot for your situation. But if you can do that, your drums are going to sound bigger. They're going to sound deeper, even if they're not tuned super, super low. Hopefully that helped. Hopefully all of that made sense. I had to track something today, so I literally just did one take and went with it. So if it doesn't make sense, I'll do a proper video on how I tune my snare and everything else later when I'm not so distracted. I had to get gas because I was out. So today I had to track drums for a client. Ended up doing it in 2 takes, and while I was there I figured I would talk about my snare drum tuning, because I've been getting a lot of questions about it lately and like how I approach it and everything else. So that's why I made that video. But like I said, I was super busy and I didn't put a lot of thought into it. It was just kind of like throw it up there and just talk about it. So hopefully it makes sense, but if it doesn't, I'll make a proper video dedicated to that tuning. Or if you want to let me know, that'd be cool too. Gas is done. I didn't even listen to the audio after I recorded it for this. I literally just tracked it, saved it, exported it. That was good, right at the drums. So hopefully it sounds good. All right, just got home and I'm gonna go eat some dinner and edit this vlog. So with that, I think I'm going to call it here. You knew it was coming. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button down below and hit the subscribe. Hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on new videos I post on this channel. Thanks, guys.